Now, Changing State is a coming-of-age drama about 4 young Londoners as they try to find their role in life in a confusing modern world. It's written and directed by the playwright Tian Glasgow, whose previous work, Silver Shores, dealt with slavery and the future it represented. Well, he now joins me in the studio. I have got that right, 3 or 4 group? Four. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. We got that right. But, I mean, the key thing about this play is that you've got these social themes underscoring the much bigger picture, and that's quite a trick to pull that off, isn't it?
Yeah, and also to sort of put together lots and lots of sort of storylines in order to sort of show the social side of it. But hopefully I managed it, yeah.
Well, it seems that you have, if the reviews and things are anything to go by, so that's good. But is there one particular storyline which dominates, or do you give them all equal attention?
Try to give them all equal attention, because it's kind of about how their self-esteem affects all their sort of many lives, even though a lot of the stigma around teenagers is, you know, it can often be sort of given to them by adults, and they can understand what's going on in terms of being in a recession and not being able to get jobs and things like that. So it kind of it's hard for them to find their way through, but there's certain things of they know they may never become lawyers or doctors because of the sort of poverty bracket they're in and things like that.
So does that make this a political play then? Because really the characters, they are the victims of something which is beyond their control. Some of them are doing the right thing. They're going to university. Once upon a time, a university guaranteed you a job. That's not necessarily the case. You may train as a lawyer, but you may end up working in a bakery. Yeah. So do you feel that there's a political edge to this play? Yeah,
I would say so. I'd say there's it's where a lot of the ideas came from, because, you know, especially now, sort of a recession, you know, an election year, you kind of get a lot of things given in terms of, like, how many free school meals are given out to young people as a sort of basis of poverty and things like that. But for me, it was very much about, when I work with young people, how they kind of internalise that, how they kind of decide who they are in the midst of all these statistics, basically.
So that's what's inspired this, that interaction that you have with young people?
Yeah, and then in terms of when you read the papers and then what the young people say about themselves, so it has an edge to it, but it is more about their personal journeys inside of sort of our society, you know, and how difficult it is to even believe you could make it somewhere, you know.
Do you think that British society listens to young people? Because clearly you are listening and you're expressing their thoughts, their sentiments, their emotions into this play, but the wider world out there, are they listening?
I think they try to, more and more. I think they try to, especially now that I think that a lot of young people are showing the fact that they vote, they're showing the fact that they are interested, and but in ways that maybe are quite difficult to measure, like in terms of trying to take a poll from Twitter or something like that. It is quite difficult, but I think they try to. But like with any poll, really, it's very hard to sort of find the information from it and find whether that's actually the way they feel overall.
I mean, you've got 4 different characters, young men and young women. Are there any of them who actually manage to get what they want, or are they all destined to be disappointed? Without giving too much away.
Give away the ending of my play. No, exactly. I think, a couple do manage to find their way through, but they always find their way through via still being knocked around by the events and things that they don't understand. So they kind of, you know, the way they make it to the end is sometimes through luck and through not being completely in control of their situation, even though they're thinking, I'm going to go in that direction, but they have no idea if that's a mistake. Because one of the characters tries to get himself rehoused, and he's sort of a young, you know, 18-year-old black guy who's never been taught how to call the council, deal with all those issues and understand bureaucracy at all, never been taught it. So he's muddling his way through and makes all the mistakes you do and tries not to be misrepresented if he gets angry, if he, you know, things like that.
Yeah, so, it sounds as if there's a struggle not just to make something of their lives, but to avoid the so-called self-fulfilling prophecy that if you come from a poor background, then it is inevitable that the following things will happen to you and not necessarily good. If you buck the trend, then you are the exception to the rule. Exactly,
and I think you can often find that, there's that tension, especially being a teenager, there's always that tension to go sort of quite wildly in one direction or another, and, you know, in terms of your choices, because you just get frustrated. And, you know, we know, working, let's say, in an office or something like that, you know, tactfulness, things like that. It's not really taught. And
yeah, the simple things that we take for granted as adults.
Exactly, and where did we learn that? We're not really sure. Like, we just maybe wandered into an office as a temp and kind of gauged, what it's like to accidentally use the wrong person's milk.
Sure.
Or, you kind
of pick it up by rote, so to speak.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think the interesting thing about the play as well is that on the one hand, you're sort of looking at the bigger issue of young people, but within that group, you do have black characters in there as well. So how does the play perhaps challenge the perception of black youngsters, guys who wear hoods and sagging jeans, etc., that don't be afraid, believe it or not, they've also got a beating heart, they've also got emotion, they also want the things that you and I take for granted?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the way I've written it, there's all the characters have at least one monologue somewhere in there where I try to, in terms of my writing, get to the heart of what it must feel like and what, try to remember, what I felt like. And of course, me growing up, it wasn't like now where everything is being told to you that it's so difficult that, it's so hard to find your way through. And then on top of that, we try to put in a little bit of stylistic situations where you try to see into how it feels, because one character actually sort of applies to a sort of talent show competition and how sort of, the questions they ask you to become part of those process.
Which sounds quite desperate in itself to actually apply to a talent show competition from a position of weakness.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, in terms of getting what they want, some of them, they almost find their way through. But then, are you robust enough to handle being famous? Are you robust enough to handle the change in your representation from being, okay, I'm a young black girl and now I'm famous, or am I famous, or my agent says this, or
sure, and the criticism as well, which you'll get.
Yeah.
Where is the play being held? And give us an idea about the prices for the tickets, etc., and the actual run of the play at the theatre.
Of course, yeah. It's on from now. Our opening night was yesterday, and it goes until the 14th of February. It's only on from Tuesday till Saturday. But there are matinees on Saturday, and prices of tickets are £13.50 and concessions £10.
And one very important detail that you've missed out in 20 seconds, the theatre, the name, and where is it?
It's in the Hen and Chickens Theatre, which is in Highbury in Islington.
The Hen and Chickens Theatre.
Just on Highbury Corner.
Right, so that's North London.
North London, yeah.
OK, Tian, congratulations for the work. We look forward to seeing it and hopefully talking to you again about your future work. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you.